Hello again, everybody. Welcome back to another episode here this evening about Banish the Doubt. In this episode, I want to talk about balance and spiritual balancing and universal balancing. Is pretty much one and the same. But here's what I am talking about. So, whenever we put importance on something, okay, so when we look at something, be it a relationship, be it finances, be it our health. Okay. So, whenever we put importance on something, the universe, or spiritually speaking, universally speaking, we are now out of balance because the universe, everything is perfectly balanced. So, in other words, let's say trees, for instance, we have trees that are called red maple, red because the leaves turn this beautiful red shade in the fall. And we call it fall because the leaves fall off the trees during this time of the year. Okay? There's a balance to it. The red maple doesn't turn orange one year because it doesn't feel like being red. It just is. It's red maple. The leaves turn red. The leaves fall off in the autumn. The sun, the earth revolves around the sun. It doesn't go three-quarters of the way one year and say, well, I don't feel like doing this anymore. How much longer do I have to do this? We do these things. Okay. So whenever we put importance on something, we are now out of balance. And the universe will work to right that balance, bring it back to perfect equilibrium. So, which brings me to the topic you see over my shoulder here tonight. This question you would ask yourself is, would true success contradict my struggle? And by that I mean, have we come, now I know this is true for me, we become addicted to the familiar feelings of struggle. Oftentimes, and the majority of the times, is because this is what we were born into, right? If you're like myself and you come from the Catholic background, you know that you were told that, well, you have to go to church. And if you don't go to church, you're somehow sinning. And of course, if you don't go to confession and confess your sins, well, now you're even in deeper, right? Some of you watching this would probably recognize this. We were led to believe that there is this man named Saint Peter standing next to these things called the pearly gates. And he has a clipboard in his hand, in his arms, his hand. And we're gonna go to heaven. We're gonna stand there at these pearly gates, and he's going to somehow look at this database and pull out our name and say, well, let's see, how many times did you go to church every Sunday? Did you go to confession? How many confessions did you go to? So these are the thoughts that sort of roll around in our head growing up. So we're growing up with this mindset of, we're sinners, because oftentimes that's where our parents, the mindset that they came up in. Others came up in a mindset from their caregivers, from their parents, if both parents were even around, that this world is very difficult. And it is uphill all the way, we've heard, right? And you have to struggle, you have to grind, you have to hustle, you have to get out there and go into what's called the rat race. And some of you, feel free to go ahead and share in the comments about some of the terminology, some of the thought processes where when you were growing up, money doesn't grow on trees, I'm breaking my back. Think of some of the things, how, what you were born into, the verbiage, the rules of the family. What were the rules of your culture? These types of things. Did mom and dad, what was their relationship like? So how were you What were you born into? What were the formative years of your life like? Okay. So many people, let me pull this over a little bit better here. If you can see this, let's see. Yes, there we are. Many people are actually afraid to heal. I mean, that sounds paradoxical, right? Because their entire identity, what we're talking about, is centered around the trauma that they've experienced. And they have no idea who they are outside of this trauma. And that unknown can be terrifying. So, a recent story just a couple of days ago, I'll share with you. I'm in the office, and this young man comes in and he announces that locally here, the football team, if you're from, if you're watching this from around the world, here locally in this United States, the football team in this area just the quarterback left. Excuse me, and he announces it in the office. He goes on to say, and that this gentleman is black, and he's talking about this, and he goes on to say that the Giants, will never have never um, had a quarterback who was black. And while that actually factually is not true, but it is very illuminating. I was listening to this, and it really speaks to the trauma that he is still in unconsciously. And it speaks to how he grew up, what the conversations were like, what were the perceptions of his family. He's living inside this soup, if you will, and he has no idea. How many of us are living inside this trauma and success, right? Success would contradict the struggle. How many of us we end up in relationships, marriages, 20, 30 years. My mom said when my father passed away, she shared with me, she said, this was about, I think, a year or two after he had passed. She said, I never shed a tear when your dad passed. Because the majority of her marriage, she was never happy, never truly happy. Because in her mind, unconsciously, success for her. Now, our family, we had a home, and we had a second home on the beach, not on the beach, but they call the shore here in New Jersey. To many on the outside, it looked like we were successful. But peel apart the onion a little bit and you look inside, and there was a lot of trauma, there was a lot of struggle. There was alcoholism in our family, addiction to alcohol, but there was also an addiction to struggle. So what things look like on the outside, the cover of the book, is not necessarily what really is going on the inside. You look no further than Hollywood to see this. People are not living authentically. And oftentimes, living authentically, right, the unknown is very terrifying. So if any of this is resonating with you, and this is something that you would like to share, you go to my channel, click on a link. I'd be happy to work with you and coach with you and kind of help you through some of these areas, or to maybe for the first time in your life, say, okay, I'm starting to become more aware of what's going on. And if you're here watching this video and you've struggled your whole life, maybe you're dealing with addictions, or and if you need professional help with that, by all means, absolutely, seek out some professional help. But if you'd like to talk about this, um, we could talk about this in a relationship maybe that you're not comfortable in, and you feel like you have no voice. You're looking to get out, to become authentic, to finally, for the first time in your life, have that fulfilling relationship. I will tell you, the first and most important relationship that you ever going to have in your life is right here with yourself first. Because if you're not happy with who you are and where you are in this now moment, because remember, life is nothing more than just a series of now moments. There's no way you could ever be happy with anybody else. Because I will tell you, just by the virtue of the fact that you are unhappy, you're going to attract like into your life. Like attracts like. There could be no other way. It is a law of the universe. But I wanted to bring this to this video tonight to enlighten you and to maybe if some of you have been saying, I've been trying this for so long and I just, this affirmations and what have you, I just can't seem to. Let me just fix this computer here. There we are. We can see now at the top of that. Okay, so we can see up top here now. Okay, I put a dollar sign with success because your relationship, the amount of money that you have ever generated in your life, think about the most money you've ever generated in your life is because of the relationship you have with money. And just because somebody has a great relationship with money does not necessarily mean that they are truly happy. They could be somebody who is out there just, um, they don't care. It's just all about making money, making money, making money. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about living life to a point where there is, again, this balance. Okay. Now, if you are somebody who puts a lot of importance on this, making money, just I don't care what it is, I just make money. There's so much importance on just generating or making money that the universe oftentimes will, it's only a matter of time before it balances out. Okay. And by balancing out, you would see many times people like that, or maybe their second, third, fourth marriage, they're not happy. Okay. They've gone through a lot of issues, a lot of trouble in their life. And for them, that is the trauma in their life. And to face that would be to face the unknown. It would be very terrifying for them. And what am I talking about? Okay. So what I'm talking about is, let's see, will I do it? I'll do it here. And anybody who you're a subscriber to my channel, you have maybe seen this before, but it's very, very important that we really focus on this. So 3T to 7 years. Third trimester. Okay, let me just adjust this a little bit here. Third trimester to 7 years. The Jesuit faith has been telling their followers for over 500 years. Give me a child from age 0, actually. They don't talk about third trimester. That's only something recently, the last maybe 50 years or so. Dr. Bruce Lipton talks about this a lot. But from age 0 right here to age 7, give me a child and I'll give you the man or the woman. Now, why do they say that? It's because at age 0, or the third trimester, when we are in our mother's womb, okay, we were just a fetus, through the umbilical cord, mom, her view, her perception of life, the universe, her reality, that energy is transferred through her blood, through the umbilical cord to the child, to the fetus. And if that transference of energy is one of fear, is one of anger, frustration, doubt, anxiety, okay? If there's a lot of that going on, and that is transferred to the fetus through the umbilical cord, then that child at age zero, if you will come into the world with this as a imprint, as a foundation, as an operating system, just like this computer. Excuse me, mom, in the third trimester, through age 0 and beyond, but more importantly, right here, is unknowingly, unconsciously transferring this trauma into the fetus. Okay. And we know evidence of that just by the story I shared with a young man who's probably in his 30s now, so way past 7 years of age, right? Still is carrying this trauma, this mindset around with him. And how many people do you know carry this mindset? And to be successful, okay, to face this and become successful is unknown. It would be very terrifying for them to own up to that, to even understand that, and to be able to say, hey, you don't see it this way? Huh. Well, let me stand back and let me see what exactly it is that you see. And let me try to see from your perspective. Let me find out how is it that you feel this way? What is it that has gone on? And if I were to ask that young man that question, say, what exactly took place and has taken place in your life for you to be carrying this around with you? Oftentimes, they're going to go back to the way they were raised, the caregivers who brought them into this world. Okay, so that as sort of a foundation, from age 0 to age 2, we are in the brainwave known as delta. Delta is the brainwave when we're sound asleep, when we're dreaming. Okay, it's the middle of the night. So from 0 to age 2 is when a baby's eyes are open, but you can tell they're not computing anything. They're just there, but they're downloading all the information because at that stage, okay, the information, the subconscious mind is developed. So the subconscious here, as well as in here, is open. I put that as almost like a bowl. I just figure that just it's being filled up. It's being filled up with, again, the fears, the anxiety, the anger, the frustration, the doubt, all of that is being put inside our subconscious mind. The relationship between mom and dad, even if there is a mom and a dad, well, there is a dad, obviously, but what is the relationship like? What are the rules of the family? What are the rules of the culture? All that's being put inside this baby's brain, but subconscious. And again, it's setting up the operating system for this child. That's in delta. Now, if we take it out further, from delta or from 0 to age 7, we are in theta brainwaves. Theta is the hypnotic state. Theta is the space when we are drifting off to sleep. Not quite sleeping yet, but we're not really quite awake. It's that space that we wake up in the morning and we're sort of like kind of getting our bearings, right? Waking up, kind of the world is starting to come into focus again. That is theta. So that is from age 2 to age 7. But this whole period, there is no consciousness. The conscious mind has not developed yet. This is why you can talk about things in your life. I think I was about 4, maybe 5. If I asked you to recite something, to recall something that took place in your life when you were 6 months old, you couldn't. I couldn't, because our conscious mind was not developed yet. Once we go from age 7 to 12, we are now in alpha. brainwaves, which is the soft, slow consciousness. Consciousness is starting to develop. So it's the when you're a couch potato, you're laying on the couch and you're sort of vegging off, right? Watching TV on your phone, whatever it may be. You're there, you're conscious of what's going on, but you're really not paying too much attention. That's alpha brain waves. They're a little bit faster than theta, a little bit faster than delta, but still, they're not really developing much. But here's the thing. If you were to tell a child, hey, let's go, no crying, here, they're going to say, okay, right, and no crying. I got to kind of pick it up here. I got to, whatever it may be. There's no crying. What do we hear? No crying in baseball, right? From the movie, I forget, Tom Hanks and Madonna and all that. If you were to tell a child, let's go, you got to pick it up. You got to do better here. They would kind of maybe pick it up, or they would then look back, or they would react, and they hear things like that. I'm not good enough. I'm not pulling my own weight. I am not strong enough. Oftentimes, that will revert back to how they were raised. What did they hear? Specifically, what did they hear between ages 2 and ages 7? This is when we started hearing things like, I'll give you something to cry about. Stop your crying. Again, the conscious mind is not developed. You're not you what do you think, money grows on trees? What do you mean you want something? No, it's time. No more. You have enough. You're spoiled. Okay. Think of the things you heard growing up. What were the conversations like? How did mom and dad react here? Okay, specifically in here, when you were growing up, when you didn't want to eat your vegetables or whatever, things like that. How did mom and dad handle stress? How did mom and dad handle, maybe they didn't have money to make the rent payment and you wanted Christmas is coming and you wanted a present and there wasn't enough money. How did mom and dad handle that? Okay. Those formulative definitions of ourself formulated here and then through here. This is why we have struggle. Life has to be a struggle. We hear things growing up. We were poor, but at least we were happy. The implication, if you're rich, you're not happy. Filthy rich, right? The people who are filthy rich. So if you're rich, somehow you're dirty. It's dirty money. So these are the formulative definitions we have growing up. So balance. Go back to what I talked about with the universe being perfectly balanced. There is tremendous amounts of money circulating through this world. Just if you ever knew how much money was circulating through this world, you wouldn't be able to compute. There is so much abundance in the world. I once heard it said that you could take a Mack truck, Wayne Dyer said, and go down to the ocean. Now, the ocean represents an abundance, okay? I would like for you to think of yourself as standing at the beach. Now you're looking out at the ocean. And the ocean, the vastness of this ocean represents all the abundance in this universe. You could take a Mack truck for 50,000 years and just fill it up and fill it up and fill it up and fill it up. And it would barely move the amount of water in the ocean. Okay? Sounds ridiculous, right? But you could do that. It would barely impact the ocean at all because it is it's infinite. So when you're dealing with this, when you're thinking about this struggle and you're seeing yourself through this filter of I'm not worthy enough, I'm not good enough, I have to change out there in order for me to feel better. That's imbalance. The reason you're watching this video, though, is because the universe is telling you, "Hey, we're going to balance things back out. We're going to make things. The universe is creating an equilibrium. It has brought you to this video. This is the the universe correcting itself, spiritual universe correcting itself, understanding that there is no confession, there are no sins. You are not a sinner. There is nothing about that whatsoever. There is no such thing as going to a church and confessing your sins. You are perfect and whole, just the way God intended. You are a part of that spark. You are the source energy that creates this world. People talk about the field. Okay, there is no such thing as you are the field. The way you think and the way you interpret this life of yours is exactly what you get back. So the fact that you're here watching this video is because there's something inside of you that's saying this is wrong, and it's your body, that spark, that source energy inside of you coming out saying there's more to this world than what we've been living. I'm ready to face. It's not facing anything. I'm ready to change the narrative in my life. I'm ready to change the way I've been living. And the way you do that is awareness, knowledge, okay? Understand that they did the best that they could. This is not to blame anybody. Okay, we're not blaming anybody with this. This is just the world that they grew up in. And they transferred that energy over to you. But understand that they did whatever it may have been, however traumatic this may have been in your life. It's time for you to let go. Let go and let them go. Even if they're not around anymore, let them go. Because the more you hold on to this, the more you hold on to the trauma, the less opportunity you have for success. And success for you may be healing, okay? Healing yourself of something going on inside of you, maybe a cancer or some sort of autoimmune disease, or maybe you're dealing with a lack of weight, or you're dealing with too much weight. Where you heal one moment at a time, one thought at a time, because the thoughts are what led to the traumas. The thoughts, the perceptions. The young man saying to me that the Giants wouldn't hire a black quarterback because somehow he implying that the ownership is racist. Who knows? Maybe they are. And if they are, I can't do anything about that. That's them. But that's not what he's carrying around. He doesn't care much about that. It's a justification for his trauma. It's a justification for his frustration, his anger, his anxiety, and his fear. But it's time to let go. It's time to move on. It's time to allow that to just, like Alan Watts talked about. I would like for you to visualize your life. You're standing at the back of the boat and you're looking at the wake. Okay, the boat's going that way and you're looking this way. And the wake is all the stuff that's behind. It doesn't power the boat. The present moment energy powers the boat. This moment right here, this present moment energy is what's powering you. If right now, only you could do this, you decide in this moment, I am letting go. It's time to heal. It's time to let go of the trauma. You let go of it one moment at a time, one thought at a time, 1 hour at a time, 1 day at a time, 1 week at a time. And you can understand, continue. There will be ups and downs. That's just the way life is. But understand, for every down, there's an up. And understand this. You want to talk to yourself as I am healed. I am perfect health. I am enough. I am deserving. I am worthy of great success, whatever that may be for you. Millions of dollars, okay? The good life. The life where you wake up And you go to work if you feel like going to work. You don't feel like going to work, you don't go to work. The life where you live authentically, your voice, you understand that for every person you see out there is you. You are connected to them. And the more people out there I help to get what they want, I get everything in life that I want. Again, I did with the, one second. I get everything that I want in my life. The more people I help to get what they want, the more the universe gives me what I want. Because again, we're going to create unity, create the great equilibrium in the spiritual universe, in your universe. It's time now. The universe is talking to you about saying, we're going to create unity. It's up to you if you say, yes, I'm ready for it. If you'd like help with this, if you need professional help, go seek it out. But if you'd like to speak with me or anybody like that, I'm offering the coaching session. Go to my channel, click on the link. I'd be happy to work with you and coach you through whatever issues you may be having at this time. Thank you very much for watching. And until I see you again, enjoy, God bless, and thank you so much for being a part of this channel.